But first, we have breaking news. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is meeting with President Trump at the White House right now. That meeting comes as Trump is escalating his trade war and pushing Canada to become part of the United States. Let's bring in White House correspondent Karen Travers and senior reporter Catherine Falders, along with our business reporter Alexis Christoforous for more. So, Karen, what's President Trump saying ahead of this meeting?
The president posted on his Truth social media platform just minutes before Prime Minister Mark Carney arrived, Diane. And if he is indicating in that post what this meeting might be like, it could be a little tense. As the president says in this post, we don't need their cars, we don't need their energy, we don't need their lumber, we don't need anything they have, referring to Canada. He says other than their friendship, which hopefully we will always maintain. The president says of Canada, they, on the other hand, need everything from us. So certainly indicating a tough posture on trade negotiations and discussions about potentially reducing the tariffs on Canadian imports into the United States. That will be a big topic of conversation, as well as the broader U.S.-Canadian relationship, which has been very tense in recent months, as the president has talked about making Canada the 51st state. He's had tough words about the previous Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, but this is a chance to reset the relationship. Though Mark Carney, Diane, has indicated that he is still willing to play hardball. He's talked about American betrayal and said that Canadians should not forget the lessons of what this administration has done in just a short amount of time.
And Catherine, what's Prime Minister Carney hoping to get out of this meeting? There he is arriving just moments ago. How much pressure is he under right now from the Canadian people?
Well, certainly he is under a great deal of pressure in a sense. As Karen was saying, this is a chance really for the two countries to restart and reset the relationship here between the United States and Canada. Now, the two men don't have a long relationship at all. I believe they've only spoken 2 times since Mark Carney took over here. So we'll see when cameras go in to the Oval Office, when they meet before cameras later today, exactly what they discuss. But Carney has spoken publicly about this meeting and what he expects out of it. Obviously, Trump has said he's not sure what the prime minister wants to discuss. That's what he said in the past, and that Canada wants to make a deal as it relates to tariffs. But Carney said last week he's not pretending that these discussions will be easy. Carney said they won't proceed in a straight line. There will be ups and downs and zigzags along the way. So we'll see what comes of this high-stakes meeting in just a few moments.
And Alexis, President Trump says we don't need anything from Canada except their friendship, but that Canada needs everything from us. Who has more at stake here in this trade war right now?
Diane, if you look at the numbers, the U.S. does need Canada, relies on them for a lot of products. In fact, we imported more than $412 billion from Canada in 2024, much more than we export to Canada. So that is why we have that trade deficit. And it spans across a number of different industries. Yes, lumber, agriculture, energy, pharmaceuticals. And you just can't, and we've been talking about this throughout the tariff talks, you can't just pivot on a dime. You can't just find new supply chains elsewhere without that costing a lot of money or pain to consumers really on both sides of the border. We could have fewer of a particular product. These prices could also go higher. And we're seeing already in the early days of these tariffs being implemented between the U.S. and then the reciprocal tariffs from Canada that those small businesses along the border are getting hit the hardest. And that's because we're seeing border crossings come down about 30% year over year. Flights, Canadians coming to the U.S. down about 70%. And there's been a real backlash, just a grassroots, boots on the ground effort by Canadians to boycott American goods.
And Catherine, President Trump has repeatedly talked about making Canada part of the United States. What are you watching for on that front?
Well, from speaking with sources close to Trump, this is still very much something that is on his mind. Who knows if he will bring it up, of course, before cameras with Carney, but it is certainly something to watch and something that he hasn't let go, at least behind the scenes. You remember that he would refer to Trudeau as Governor Trudeau quite often. Let's see if he does that before cameras in this meeting.
All right, Catherine Falders, Karen Travers, Alexis Christoforous, thank you all.